Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
You screwed up our intro. That's the first in almost 70 episodes.
Yes, this is 71, yeah.
71, you never screwed it up. All right.
The podcast where two movies watch two people.
And haunt and disturb them.
True.
You are a little bit disturbed in this episode because we're back with more Dunes.
It's Dune. It's Dune time again.
It's Dune time again. So we watched, we went to the movies and got a giant bucket of popcorn each.
Yeah, pre-ordered.
Yeah, pre-ordered a giant bucket of popcorn and we saw Dune Part 2. And then we watched, after that, we had dinner and then we watched the end of Dune.
Yeah, we watched the last 40 minutes of Dune, 1984. Now, I need to caveat this by saying,
spoilers.
as people, no, not even. I'm not going into spoilers yet. Well, there will be spoilers though, so be warned that there's spoilers. People, long-term listeners, will be aware that when we did our previous Dune episode, which we recorded November or December 2021 and released in January 2022, that was my first time seeing Dune, any kind of Dune, and that was my first Dune content. It was my first time seeing the 1984 Dune, and we only watched the first 90 minutes of it.
Yeah.
But the only time I've seen Dune Part 1. And I have not watched either of those since.
Yeah.
Just went blind into Dune Part 2, and the last 40 minutes of a movie that I have no recollection of the first 90 minutes of. So it was an experience. And the pacing is wild.
Yeah.
The pacing of the last 40 minutes. I can't remember. I don't remember the first 90 minutes of Dune. I have literally zero recollection. To the point that when we started watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Kyle MacLachlan was in this. The main guy. So literally, I have no recollection of it, but I feel like I would have remembered if the pacing was that insane. So it must just be in the last 40 minutes, they're just like, all right, let's just go absolutely nuts with the pacing for no reason.
Yeah, so it's 137 minutes.
Right. And we watched the last 40 of those.
Yeah.
Which cover 2.5 years of Paul's life.
Yeah.
And an entire war that no one plans for, or no one does no on-screen strategy or planning is shown.
Yeah. And
a baby who is not born and then suddenly is like 6 years old.
Yep.
What the fuck?
All right. Moving into Dune Part 2, 2024. The pacing was fantastic.
I will agree with that.
Cinematography's way better.
Because the original Dune. Not the original Dune. Sorry, when I say what I meant is Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
The first half of this, Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
Hated it. It wasn't a movie. I stand by that. It was a really
long trailer.
It was like a 4-hour trailer for no reason. And I was genuinely shocked and happily shocked that things actually happened in this one. That it's like they suddenly remembered they were supposed to be making a movie and they made a movie for the second one. So I'm glad that Denis Villeneuve came to his senses and made a movie, because he's a good filmmaker. Yeah. I have seen several other films by him and really enjoyed them. And then Dune came out and I was like, what is he doing? He's just forgotten. He just forgot to make a film with that one. But thankfully that's a fluke. And in this one he has made a film. So that's, it's already better because he actually remembered that he was supposed to make a film this time.
What made it trailer-like for you? Just to clarify.
The fact that nothing happened.
Lots of things happened.
Literally nothing happened in the first movie. Literally nothing happened.
That's not true.
No.
Lots of stuff happened.
No. A few, maybe a handful of things happened in the last 20 minutes or so.
No, that's not true.
But the whole rest of the movie, nothing happened, and then it was just Paul being like, "Oh, here's what the next movie is going to look like." Every now and then it was just here's a snippet of what's going to happen in the next movie, and then it would go back to just a guy doing nothing. Guy who can't act, doing literally nothing.
Oh dear.
there was no point to it. I reckon. So here's what I think should have happened, because they're both stupidly long as well.
In which one? In the part one.
The Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
films.
Okay. So part one.
No, both of them.
Okay.
What should have happened is condense the first 2 hours of the first film into about 20 minutes.
No. Okay.
And then, like, the first hour of the second film, just put it at the end of that. And then have this one be only, like, an hour and 45 minutes long.
No.
And then you've got 2 movies that are less than 2 hours each and both, like, things happen in them. And they make sense.
But the end point of Dune 1, part 1, was good. Because it literally sets up the next movie, like the next stage of, like, Paul's life.
I understand that. But there was no reason, like, if you're like, it's like he had a script and he was like, oh, this is a cool point to break it, but it's only 10 minutes into my script, so I gotta stretch that 10 minutes to be 2.5 hours for no reason.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and disagree with you. Okay, so in Dune Part 1...
Nothing happens.
No. Can I talk, please?
That's not even the movie we're here to discuss
I know,
today.
but we have to talk about it. You've raised a point, and I want to disagree with you. And because this is half my platform as well, I'm allowed to, and I'm going to do it orally.
I'm the editor. I'm going to delete this part.
Okay. So if I completely change subjects here, folks, she's doing what we aren't doing, which is editing. Where was I going? Okay, so you have the setup of Duke, Leto, and Paul, and the relationship that he has with everybody, Duncan, Idaho, and the other characters, you know, that are super important.
They're so important you don't even remember who they are, even though you have read all the books and watched all the movies multiple times.
I've only seen Dune Part 1 twice, and I watched it again recently.
Yeah, and you have read all the books. You've watched Dune Part 1 twice. You've watched the 1984 Dune multiple times. You've watched the Dune TV series, and yet you can't remember the characters that are so important, that you've just said are so important to his life. You don't remember who they are. Duncan, Idaho, because he's got a weird name, and then, like, some other guys, maybe.
Yeah. Gurney Halleck, played by Patrick Stewart, and also Thanos. I liked when Thanos killed Drax.
What's the name of that guy? There's a guy in both movies.
Yeah.
Because they're about the same thing. So obviously,
which guy?
It's called. Is it Stilgar?
Stilgar. Yeah, he's the leader of the Sitch.
Every time anyone says his name, they don't pronounce the L. They call him like Stogar, and so the whole time through both movies, I was like, oh, George Stobart. It's just George Stobart. So in my head, that's who he is. Okay. But he's like the leader of the Fremen, right? Of that tribe of Fremen.
Yeah.
George Stobart.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got there after the Broken Sword series, but maybe it was beforehand. Maybe that's where he came from.
Anyway, so you have this lead up, this sort of creating the universe, building the world, world building, beginning of the hero's journey.
Just do that in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
No, because the problem is that the original Dune, the ending is sped up. It's very much like Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, where it ends.
Oh my god! I literally thought of it as well. What I was thinking of was the beginning of Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, because literally when we just watched that. Yeah. So we've just watched the last 40 minutes of Dune 1984, and then came to record this because my mind is blown.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of the beginning. I literally was thinking of Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, but I was thinking of the beginning part where it's like, and then 17 years pass, it's like, and it just like speeds through the seasons in the Shire. Yeah. Like it just like 1 year or 2 years and like slow changing seasons, then just go like, and it's bizarre. It's so strange to watch.
Yeah.
There's no reason to decide to do it that way, but Ralph Bakshi is a nut job.
Yeah. So you have plans within plans. And then the plans are acted on. You have the Emperor, who's afraid of Duke Leto's popularity within the Landsgrad, which is basically the royal families that are in control of the universe under the Emperor. Mm-hmm. You have the 2 other third parties, so that would make it 6 parties, but it's only 2. where the Bene Gesserit, who have been weaving through time by selective breeding and genetics, who are trying to breed the Kwisatz Haderach, the ultimate being, who is a male-born Bene Gesserit who can look where the women, the Reverend Mothers, can't, which is into the genetic history of all the men. Then you have, and then the Spacer Guild who rely on the spice.
Spice Girls.
Yeah, the Spice Girls. And what isn't explained in either of the movies, but is explained heavily in the books and the book Dune, because I'll try and stay out of the books as much as I can, because it's not fair on my co-host, lovely co-host.
Is that my name?
No,
my co-host, lovely co-host.
No, it's just
you forgot what the character names. You forgot my name.
No, it's just that I was emulating the where Faye turns up. Lovely Faye.
I don't even remember that happening. Who's Faye?
Faye Routher.
Oh, Fade. Is it not with a D? Fade Routher?
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's Fade Routher.
Okay. Anyway.
I got so confused there for a second. I was like, I don't remember this happening in the movie. I just watched them and I don't remember that happening.
So your plans within plans, and then what's not explained in either of the movies, sorry, apologies, is the fact that the Fremen are paying off the Spacer Guild. So they say that the southern continents are uninhabitable, the southern deserts are uninhabitable.
There's like millions of Fremen down there.
Yeah, and that's the reason they can't put satellites in space, is because they just get, they can't see because of the sandstorms and stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is the Fremen have been paying them off. Plus, the Emperor's representative Kynes has also been involved in that.
See, none of that happens.
Correct, that's what I'm getting at.
No, but you can't say that's what happens when it literally doesn't happen.
Okay,
They've changed the canon for these movies.
No, the books are the canon part. These are adaptations.
Yeah, but the canon of these movies are not that.
Yeah.
And also the canon of these movies aren't the same as each other.
Yeah.
There's some weird shit going on.
Yes. There's lots of weird shit.
I don't know what's happening in the Kyle MacLachlan one.
Yeah, and there's also going to be a third one, which I'm so happy.
A third Kyle MacLachlan one?
No, a third new one.
Well, thankfully I don't have to watch that.
I will. I'll go see it.
You can watch it, but I don't have to watch it because there's nothing to compare it to. So thank you. I would like to say...
You don't want to take me on a date night to go see a...
I would like to say thank you to David Lynch for not making a sequel so that I don't have to watch another Denis Villeneuve Dune movie.
Okay. I'm sad about that. You want to compare it to the television show?
That's not a movie. We can't do that. That's not how we do this. That's not how we do around here.
Where do you want to go from here?
I don't know. It's very hard to compare these because, like, one of them is like a 4-hour movie and the other one is like 20 seconds.
4 hours, and the other one was 40 minutes versus, 2 hours and 2 hours and something. A lot happens in Dune Part 2.
Mm-hmm. Shockingly, yes. Considering how literally nothing happened in the first movie.
You know what's sad? I hoped this was going to be like the Escape series, where you went from hating them to liking them. But unfortunately, that's not happened.
Here's the thing. I definitely like the second one a lot more than the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, I don't think it's bad filmmaking. Because I don't think we're supposed to like pretty much any of the characters. I think they're deliberately... Like, I feel like I understood... I don't know, because I haven't read the books. I don't know what Frank Herbert was getting at, but I feel like if the Denis Villeneuve adaptation is in any way accurate to the spirit of those books, I feel like I understood the underlying messages this time, that were not in the first one. Made no sense. Which is this concept, which I agree with, that organized religion can and has been used to control people or to manipulate people into fighting wars for people that are not not something that they should actually believe in.
Correct.
And there's a whole underlying thing in this, and I don't know what the fuck is going on in the David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
None of this happens. But there's this whole underlying idea that, the Bene Gesserit have missionaries in the southern tribes in the south of Arrakis. And they have given them these prophecies and things and helped them build this religion so that they can purposely plant whoever they choose to be, the Messiah of sorts into this. And obviously Lady Jessica was not supposed to create the Messiah. She's supposed to only birth girls or whatever. And instead she has deliberately made this boy, and in order to keep him alive has been like drilling it into him that he is the Messiah so that he will believe that.
Yeah.
And Paul is a real shitbag. Super arrogant, super narcissistic. There's like moments in the movie where it seems like he's not, but then it's like it's very deliberately kind of pointed out that like he's only pretending to be humble because he wants to get people to believe in him. Because he's a manipulative shitbag who was raised by an incredibly manipulative woman. And
you're not half wrong. That's the problem.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's bad filmmaking. I think this is deliberate.
Yeah.
I think that this is what I'm getting from it. I think Denis Villeneuve has very deliberately taken these aspects that I presume were in the book and really gone, this is the core of the story, which is not... David Lynch, I don't know, he was just going, this is a fantasy with weird fantasy things happening.
Correct.
Whereas Denis Villeneuve has gone, here, I have dug into this and I have found a core message that I want to highlight. And part of what he's done is, and I assume, like, with no knowledge of the books, you can tell me how wrong I am or how right I am, I assume that he has deliberately changed a couple of characters in order to really emphasize that. And those are Lady Jessica and Chani. Because based on the other adaptation, if the other adaptation is in any way accurate to the books, those characters are just like weak little women who are like, I'll do blah, 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 blah. Whereas in the Denis Villeneuve one, Chani is like the person saying they are doing this to control us. We shouldn't believe in this. This religion is their religion, not our religion. They're using it to enslave us as people. And you people are too indoctrinated to see it. And then Lady Jessica is deliberately using that stuff that her Bene Gesserit, ancestors have instilled in these people to manipulate them further and get herself and Paul solidified in their culture and bring it into people's brains that this is the Kwisatz Haderach, so that she can be like, you can't, I know we're outsiders, but you can't kill us because we are this.
My son's the Messiah.
Yeah, and it's the, her drinking the thing and being like, oh my goodness, I survived drinking the poison because my son is the Messiah and I have, it's prophesied that I will do this. And, the people are divided about it. So Paul is like, okay, the only way to get these Northerners and young people on my side is to be like, no, you're right, she is trained to do this.
Yeah.
But then he's playing both sides because he's saying to them, you're correct, she was trained. But to the other people, it's like, but that's how she fulfills the prophecy is by being trained, and how I fulfill the prophecy is by being humble. Is any of that accurate to book lore?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The part I want to talk about that's disturbing is, so Jessica is incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
She fulfills Duke Leto's ambition by producing an heir.
Yeah.
She was never going to be married to him. She was supposed to be a concubine again, so possibly Duke Leto could marry. Mm-hmm. It's you're right in the sense that you said that his father is manipulating. That was the reason that they attacked the Atreides is because, like I said earlier, Duke Leto was very popular within the Landsguard.
Yeah.
The Emperor was afraid that he would be able to take over because he got enough popularity. The reason he was never married to Jessica was so to keep it open so he could align with other powerful houses.
Yeah.
The reason that Bene Gesserit, which is even more disturbing, what the information you know now, that they wanted that Jessica to have a girl so that she can marry Paul, the daughter, to Fade.
Right. Yeah, because it's said kind of in, I believe in the Denis, I can't remember which one. I think the Denis Villeneuve one, that they have been kind of cultivating multiple bloodlines, so that they can kind of pick and choose and go, oh, this one's working out, we'll make this person the Kwisatz Haderach, or the
they wanted
Mahdi.
a Kwisatz Haderach they could control.
Yeah, exactly. So they were looking at Fade Rautha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have mean they were like trying to inbreed the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I want to know, in the books, is Lady Jessica, does she put herself in position of power like that? Does she come across like that, or is she more of a kind of a, listening to other people and
It's interesting because in the book, and I think a little bit in the 87 movie.
84?
84, sorry.
I think it's 84.
She does have what they refer to as a weirding power.
Right.
Which is the voice and also the cool martial arts that they can do, which is basically just...
Oh, she has that in Dune Part 1, but she doesn't really do anything with it in Dune Part 2.
Yeah. The whole point is that, like, when she basically this is a point I made in the original one, which is why Kynes was weird that they reset, because it is supposed to be based on sort of like Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah.
The Fremenna, which is very, very male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
That's Frank Herbert's writing, not my opinion.
Yeah.
And this concept that Stilgar is bested by Jessica.
Yeah.
Is this whole like, oh well, she's now in control. Like, you should be dead. Like, that's where the whole Janus thing came from in Paul's fight. And there's a part that bugs me. Like, one of our regular listeners talked about how they, again, in both versions, missed one of the most important scenes, which is the dinner party. And I'll explain for those who don't know. So the dinner party, when Duke Leto is still alive, he has a party with all the everybody who's in charge, and basically there's a basin. So you understand that, like, on the planet Arrakis, water is worth so much money. The value of it is insane. It's literally everything.
Yeah.
So they're having this party, and there's literally basins where they're just like washing their hands, and it's like there's so much water wastage that's going all over the floor, to the point where the house, the person who's in control of the house that they live in, is selling the mopped up water to beggars outside the palace, squeezed from the towels.
Yeah.
And Duke Leto's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, this is so wasteful.
Yeah.
And basically, like, goes and tells them to, like, do it for free and give the water away.
Yeah.
And it really shows his character, if he's coming from this world where water is abundant. And, coming towards, like, being like, no, I don't want to rule everybody. I'm not a Harkonnen.
Yeah.
I want to be here as, like, the leader of the people, and, everybody prospers together. Obviously, that's not the plan within the plan. The plan within the plan is basically to assassinate him and destroy his entire family. And then basically the amount of money they spent doing that, including transporting the Sardaukar, which are the Emperor's personal soldiers, which are from a prison planet. So they're, like, literally criminally insane and the best fighters in the universe. Basically, he wants, like explained in the first movies, like, all about desert power, trying to get Duncan involved, and, that's how Gurney's able to, like, move around with, like, the weird mercenaries who are out there spice harvesting on the black market and doing smuggling work. And it's, but the bit that was missed out of 2, which annoyed me because it's such a funny cultural moment from the book, that isn't in either of the movies, is so basically when Paul kills Janus, he gets his body water, his water of life.
Right.
So it's now his. And they, women in the household on the Fremen women carry basically these rings, and the rings, depending on the sizing, is depending on how much water you own. So your family, like what's in the bank, right? Mm-hmm. So Janus is killed. They put his water of life into the giant well.
Yeah.
And Paul's given his body weight in water as like, here's your money. And it's so funny because, and it pissed me off that it wasn't in either of the movies, because literally both movies, like, well, part one ends like right before that, and then part, like, where we stopped was like right before they go and visit the well. So in their culture, when you as a man pass your rings off to a woman, it's proposing.
Right.
And it happens in the book because like Chani's like basically being told to look after Paul because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how to carry these without them rattling because they're not allowed to make any sound. Yeah. And he like, hey, can you show me? And like hands them to Chani. And Chani's like, looks at Stilgar, and Stilgar's like, no. He doesn't understand what he just did. He literally just proposed to you and he doesn't understand that. And it really annoys me because it's like, it showed better because like, as you said, it was like a weird acid trip for the last 40 minutes of doing part one. Because it's literally like...
No, not Dune, sorry. The 84 Dune.
84, yeah. So there's literally just explosions and them kissing, and then a bunch of stuff happens, and
it's fast forwarding 2 years, and the baby is born premature as a fetus, and then it's suddenly a 6-year-old.
Yeah. And the pacing in part two is so much better, but it's still like, that is one of my favourite scenes because it's like showing that Paul is like a mentat, like basically a human computer.
Yeah.
So that's why he's all weirdly emotionless and like, we should do this, even if it kills everybody, we need to do this. And then of course he's like, because he's being dosed with spice melange, he's like getting like psychic, glimpses into the future, and he's like, oh no, all these predictions about like, if I follow this, it's going to be this is from the original book, a jihad, a holy war across the empire.
They do refer to it as a holy war, but I feel like they're probably avoiding
the word jihad because of the ramifications.
I think we talked about that in the previous episode. I feel like that it makes sense for them to have cut out that scene, even though it makes you sad. Because they're very much trying to push Chani as very independent and very strong. Yeah. And very much her own person, not defined by Paul. Yeah. But
that's sort of that whole point of like, he has been basically fantasizing about her. Yeah. She's just like, I don't want anything to do with you. Yeah. And he's all like, will you marry me? And she's like, what the shit? Yeah. And Stilgar's like, no, it's all good. Like, that's not what he meant. Yeah. And it did show that she's a lot more independent versus just like, and the war went really well, and also they love each other. Here's them kissing, and then kissing with a water filter over the top of it, and then more explosions. Versus like them actually having to survive, showing battles where she's
awful in the 84.
Yeah,
I don't like her at all.
Paul's gaining her respect by doing cool heroic shit. Yeah. I really like the fact they included sand snorkels in it.
That was so cool.
Yeah, a lot of the ambush scenes, the battle scenes were really good. There is one I will critique later on, but that's fine. But yeah, in comparison to 84, but everything like, was like super rushed.
The final, like the kind of big final battle is in Dune Part 2, very well thought out, and they go through the tactics of it, and it's very, and it's showing that like he's actually quite strategic and is able to work with what their skills are and strengths are, and his atomic bombs. Okay.
Look, everybody who's rich and famous owns nukes,
that was
Lisa.
The funniest thing was we watching this in the cinema.
Because you didn't know.
And they just had like a throwaway line of like, oh, I know where your family hid their atomics. Yeah. And I literally thought I burst out laughing, I think. And then I turned to you and I said, does every family have atomics? And then they were like, every household has atomic fleet. And I was like, Okay. Why? But it's even more casually mentioned in the 84 version because he's just like, and then we'll use our atomics. And it's like, what do you mean you use your atomics? Where did you get atomics from? Like, you haven't even explained anything in this one.
Yeah.
Every household has atomic bombs, apparently. And they use them in the thing. But anyway... But it's all, like, tactical, and they have a plan, and they, you know, a stage plan of different people attacking from different directions and setting off the bombs, not to blow up the place because they want to take live prisoners, but to set off the sand and to bring the, you know, make noise and then call the worms and stuff. Like, it's all planned out. Whereas in the 84 one, they're just like... oh, let's go attack. And they don't even know the Emperor's there. Because in Dune Part 2, he sends a message to the Emperor to kind of entice the Emperor to come to Arrakis. But in this one, they're like, let's go kill the Emperor, and then just, like, storm the place, and the Emperor happens to land right before they get there. It's like, oh, thank God. I mean, I know he can see the future or whatever, but, like... it's not even said or implied or whatever. He doesn't say to anyone, the Emperor is coming. He's just like, let's go attack the Emperor. And they're like, yeah, okay, Paul. The Emperor's not even there when they decide that. It makes no sense.
And then they do the whole weird R2-D2 C-3PO thing at Jabba's palace with his kid sister.
Yeah, she's so creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very strange to me because, like, it's clear, it seems like a voiceover to me. Yeah. But, like, nowhere is there another actress credited, and apparently the actual child actor was, like, a legit prodigy. Yeah. Like, who she was talking fully by the age of 2. So maybe she just sounded like that. Maybe she just sounded like that at that age. So she could read by the age of 4. She had her high school diploma at the age of 14. And she's an accomplished pianist. There you go. Nice. But literally she was apparently fully speaking at the age of 2. So she was a child prodigy. And maybe that's just what she sounded like. But I feel like that can't be real.
Interesting that I was turned to you and pulled to the 3 with my fingers. Is because it was very interesting having Anya Taylor-Joy appear as her in the future. Yes. She doesn't appear in current time.
Yeah, because they changed the time frame. Yeah. Because obviously in 1984, and I believe in the book, there's like a 2-year gap. Whereas in...
clearly, like, less than 9 months.
Yeah, it's like 8 months or something. And she doesn't give birth. Because in 84, and I presume in the book, when she drinks the weird pea poison, she gives premature birth all of a sudden. Yeah. To this, like, rapidly growing child. But in Dune Part 2, they're just like, oh God, she's pregnant. And then she's just fine. And she just talks to the baby inside her. Yeah. Which is weird.
But she's also a Reverend Mother. Yep. So she's got all the memories as well. Yep.
Because she was in there when the stuff got dranked.
Yeah, drunked.
So is Paul not also a Reverend Mother?
No, because he didn't drink,
He drank it.
He drank it, but he's the Reverend Mother, but he's like a man.
Yeah, he's the Reverend Man.
So he's the Kwisatz Haderach.
The Reverend Mother.
Yeah, he's the Kwisatz Haderach.
Okay.
Kwisatz Haderach.
Stop saying it. It's scary. It's creepy.
For I am the Kwisatz Haderach.
Muad'Dib.
Tell me of your homeworld, Usul.
Why do they? They're like, your secret name.
Your secret name is Usul.
And in the
hey Usul, you want some chips?
Yeah. In part 2, they're like, they all call him Usul in that moment, and then no one really says it again. Whereas in the 84 one, they're like, every time they talk to him, they're like, "Sup, Usul?" It's like, that's his secret name. Stop saying that. Yeah. I did like, which isn't in the 84 one, the reveal of Chani's secret name, but it was done in such a stupid way. Yeah. They're like, "What's your secret name?" It means what's it? Desert flower or something? Whatever.
Desert spring.
Desert spring. It means desert spring, but I don't like it because it's part of some weird prophecy. And then later on, she's like, "Oh, the desert springs, tears must bring him back to life. And then she does it, and then she's like, fuck you, I don't want to be part of this prophecy, and runs away. And it's like, why did you suddenly lean into it all of a sudden?
So what I find very interesting and fun is, you are correct, her attitude towards Paul in Dune is not great. Obviously they are horny teenagers. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of like, there's a blossoming love there between two horny teenagers. But it is that moment of, Paul becomes a Kwisatz Haderach and is literally like, oh, I don't see things as you perceive them. I am an elevated being now, so therefore I see the past, present, and future all at once, and blah, blah, blah. Basically makes me a narcissistic asshole.
No, hang on.
Yeah.
I think that's unfair, because I think he always was a narcissistic asshole. And it just made him believe even more in his self-love. Like, he went from being like, oh, I'm the Messiah, and I'm the greatest, and I've got to make all these people fucking worship me, to being like, see, I am your god, I can know all, and then like telling people their entire past and future just for a power trip.
It's more along the lines of Paul's motivation is a revenge plot. And he's going to do anything he can to get revenge.
Yeah, I know that, but also he's a narcissistic asshole. Yeah. Always was, always has been, always will be. And then, like, he gets the power to go with it, which makes it a million times worse.
Yeah.
I don't like him. Like, I feel like in my notes for both the first part and this one, I wrote, like, I really don't like Paul.
And also huge worm.
Oh, yeah, big worm.
Yeah, big worm.
Big worm.
Blue goo.
Yeah, because I think I made the joke to you, I think before we even went to see it in cinema, that I was doing the Arrested Development, I don't care for Paul. God, he's such an asshole.
Anyway.
But I do like Chani.
Yeah.
Specifically in the Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
She's terrible in the David Lynch movie. She's
awful.
No offense to Sean Young.
Yeah.
It is Sean Young who plays her.
Sean Young.
No offense to her, I think it's badly written and badly directed, and it's written to be like, here's this, submissive waif to be Paul's lover, as opposed to
here's a natural person.
Yeah, here's a warrior and a person who understands what's going on and is looking after her people.
Yeah, because she doesn't trust them because they're outsiders.
Yeah,
and Paul. Can we jump around a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So, to ease the transition after it all ends, he's all like, cool, not only will I be emperor, I'm also taking your daughter. And Chani's just like, what, bro?
Yeah, literally, it's so stupid. Because, I knew it was going to happen, right? Because they kind of imply it when the Bene Gesserit are talking to Florence Pugh's character, who's not named in the movie. I don't think her name is ever said. The Emperor's daughter.
The Princess...
Uluru or something like that.
Uluru. It's... I don't the pronunciation of it is a little weird.
I think it's Uluru.
No, it's not Uluru. It's... where is it? Uluru...
You said Uluru.
You've screwed me up. Irulan,
okay.
So it's India, Romeo...
Princess Ireland.
Yeah, Romeo uniform.
Princess Irlande du Sapin. What was I saying about her? Oh, yeah. So she had the whole conversation with Bene Gesserit where they basically tell her, like, they don't outright say it, but they basically go, Fade Routha and Paul Atreides are in this Harry Potter Neville Longbottom situation where one of them might be the prophecy guy, they're probably going to kill each other, and the one that stays alive, you're probably going to have to marry him. This is a whole thing that happens. I don't think they ever mention Harry Potter or Neville Longbottom, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
So it's coming, but the delivery of Paul walking up to Chani and being like, I will love you until the day I die, and then turning around and immediately being like, hey, I want to marry your daughter. It's like, why did you do that? Why did you just do that? And then he like goes through the fight and he, spoiler alert, kills Feyd-Rautha, aka Elvis, aka Sting.
Yeah. Which one did you prefer?
Sting.
You preferred Sting over Elvis.
I liked the look of him. I liked what they did with the look of him.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he was doing what I can only describe as a bad parody of Batman. For the whole thing, for no reason. Apparently he had like a vocal coach who trained him to talk like Stellan Skarsgård, which I would fire them because he doesn't ever sound like Stellan Skarsgård. He sounds like he's doing a bad Batman voice. I'm Batman. Anyway, yeah, so then he kills Feyd-Rautha and then turns around and he's like, your hand, and then Chani's like, what the fuck, bro, and storms out of there, which she 100% should.
Yeah. And then
the sad thing is I assume she's going to take him back, and
correct.
She shouldn't, because he's a dick, and she deserves better.
I won't spoil, because I'm assuming there are people that are listening to this currently who want to see part 3, like I do. So I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
Good. Can I talk more about Austin Butler while we're on it?
Yeah.
He's one of them guys. He's one of them whatchamacallums.
Okay.
Method actors.
I'm gonna get back to that. So go. I'm putting a mental pause in so I don't get like tangented. So go.
So talk about him as a method actor. There's a whole thing. I'm not going to read it all because it's bullshit. It's like a very long quote from Austin Butler and then another long quote from Denis Villeneuve about him. But it basically amounts to Austin Butler decided not to method act because he and Denis Villeneuve were both afraid he'd just start killing people on set. Like, how is that even a thing? It's like, oh, I had to tone it down to 20% method acting or I would have started killing the people I work with. What the fuck?
Well,
what the fuck?
Elvis broke him.
I don't care that Elvis broke him.
So
why is his first thought, I can't get into this character without literally committing a murder against my coworkers? Why is that and like to the point that the director is like, oh, I'm glad he toned it down because I thought he was going to start killing people. Like, that's not how, it means he can't act, right? If your idea is to get into character, I need to start murdering people, that's not fucking acting. That's just becoming a serial killer. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Well, I don't understand this concept of like method acting to the point that like you can't act unless you start actually becoming a fucking serial killer. Like, what the fuck? Like, he literally is like, yeah, Denis Villeneuve literally was like, oh, he toned it down to just enough to, like, still be present and focused, but not enough, but removed enough from the character that he didn't kill any of us. Like, why is that a consideration? It should never be. You should never, as a director, working with actors, you should never be at a point where you're, like, concerned that your actors are going to start murdering the cast. What?
Yeah, but I did touch on this when we did the Shining episode. This is the way Stanley Kubrick got the performance.
That's a director doing this. Can you imagine Stanley Kubrick paired with Austin Butler, or Stanley Kubrick directing Austin Butler and fucking Morbius? What's his name?
Jared Leto.
I was going to say Jared Way, who's a different guy.
And Daniel Day-Lewis and...
I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis is, like, in the murdering zone. I think Daniel Day-Lewis does, like... I think the problem is actors like Daniel Day-Lewis do something that they call method acting. And then these younger actors have gone, that means I need to become a serial killer. And there's, like, what are you talking about?
It's also Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf? I don't know about Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf, I feel like, is a highly traumatized person.
But like the quote from the rest of the cast from Fury
Right.
It's like he stunk because he literally didn't bathe because like the whole point was is like they couldn't bathe when they were in tanks, so like I'm not gonna bathe to help. And it's just like, no, you're stinky. Like, sort your shit out.
Yeah, he probably didn't need to be stinky.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between I'm gonna get a bit stinky and if I don't tone down my method acting, I'm going to start going on murderous rampages and killing the entire rest of the cast. Like, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, Stanley Kubrick directing a movie with Austin Butler and Jared Leto in it, like, would have been a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Literally. They would have all, like, I don't know which of them would have snapped and killed him first. You know what I mean? They would have, like, all just killed each other. Yeah, it's just baffling to me. Because, I mean, he doesn't even do a good job. Like, he's not even good at acting in the movie.
I disagree.
Really? Did you hear the same voice I heard?
Yeah, but it's...
I'm not even an actor. I could do a better job than that. Without even worrying about accidentally killing all my castmates. Like, to be at a point that you're like, oh my god, my process had me almost kill everyone I know, and then you still do a bad performance, like, just get a different job.
Based on what?
Just get a different job.
Based on what, though?
What do you mean based on what?
You're saying a bad performance?
Yeah, he did bad.
Based on what?
It was bad.
What about it was bad?
All of it. What do you mean?
You can't name anything. That's my problem.
What do you mean? He literally had to hire a vocal coach to be like, let's get my voice to sound like Stellan Skarsgård, and instead he did a bad Batman impression. And then he just walked around doing this weird, like, smirk the whole time. And didn't do anything.
In comparison, didn't you like Sting better? So he just
did like Sting better.
Appears in
Sting was like, David Lynch, I don't know what the fuck he was smoking when he made this movie, but Sting was clearly given the direction to look psychotic as hell and be naked, and Sting was like, I can fucking do that, and Sting isn't even an actor. Sting is just a guy who sings songs, and like that. I've seen Sting
songs about him being uncomfortably close to young women.
Yeah, when he used to be a teacher, so it's very suspicious.
And
also stalking his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen Sting in person multiple times, right? And that's not Sting in that movie. You know what I mean? He's being a different person.
So you're saying that there was just, like, bald, eyebrowless...
Austin Butler. Doing
Elvis.
it bad...
Did you like him in Elvis?
No, I mean, I didn't really like Elvis as a movie.
Yeah, but, okay.
So it's hard to say.
I don't like Elvis as a person, but that's a completely different
I like Elvis's
subject.
Music.
Everybody likes Elvis's music.
That's not true. Some people don't like him. I mean, there's something about this concept of method acting that's like, there was a quote by some other actor that I can't remember who it was, but they were like, why don't you, like, how about instead of doing all this bullshit, you just fucking act? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
they shouldn't need to do all that.
Everybody gets there in a different way. That's the whole point.
They don't, but it's not acting. If you have to literally live as a person instead of acting, then you can't act. You're changing your whole lifestyle and then being, you know, this different version of yourself. That's not the same as just acting. Like, the people who can, like, Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place, where she's doing that sequence where she's, like, giving birth and, you know, screaming, and then, like, the things are coming together and she has to, whatever. And it's, like, this horrifying thing, and then you say cut, she's like, oh, you know, does anyone want a snack? Like, she's acted and then stopped acting.
Yeah.
When the cameras are rolling, she does her job. When the cameras aren't rolling, and she does a great job.
So you're saying that Heath Ledger did a bad job on Dark Knight?
No, I think he did a good job. But, I mean, if he had to live as a Joker...
But he did do that. He secluded himself in a hotel room, didn't interact with the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
And we got one of the best Joker performances of all time.
Yeah, but, like...
But you're basing your information on this, like, a Sting cameo... because he appears for less than 90 seconds worth of screen time.
I'm saying Sting acted, and Austin Butler tried to become a killer and couldn't even kill anyone, and also couldn't do the voice.
The audience is going to be like, all right, they're going to argue back and forth for the next 20 minutes. I'm just going to skip ahead. I'm going to go back to my placeholder moment, which is one part of the books that I'm glad both movies skipped over. The Baron Harkonnen in the books is very interested in young boys.
Oh, right.
And Faye is trying to use that to murder him throughout their entire relationship.
Right.
So in the 84 movie, they are very close.
Yeah.
In a creepy manner. Mm-hmm. Because, obviously, as we've discussed, Sting turns up in a mankini.
Apparently they wanted him to be fully naked.
Yeah.
And he was like, heck yeah, I'll do it fully naked. And then the studio...
was like, please know our ratings.
Yeah, basically.
So yeah, basically, I'm pretty sure that actually happened in the book. So he, the shield technology. Mm-hmm. So he gives Baron Harkonnen a gift in his room.
Yeah. Of
a young boy, and puts a needle with poison in it, covered with a shield on the boy's inner thigh, and it's just like, there you go, have fun, uncle. And then, so the uncle murders the kid and is just like, oh yes, he was almost perfect, except for that blemish on the inside of his leg. And Faye's like, oh shit, he realized I was trying to kill him. And then he's all like, no, I'm very proud of you for trying to murder me, because that's how we do it around here.
Yeah. You
murder me and then you become Baron of the planet, which is a weird line of succession, because then how do you trust anybody?
Do they keep calling him Ne Baron? Is that because he's the nephew of the Baron?
No, he's the Baron in training.
Okay, because I was like, that's just a weird title.
To explain it in a way that makes sense outside of the lore of Dune, Duke Leto is royal family. He's, he's inherited from his father and his father beforehand, and blah, blah, blah. Baron Harkonnen, on the other hand, is super wealthy. Mm-hmm. He owns a planet. That's why he was involved with original, he was the lapdog of the Emperor, and go look after Arrakis for me. You'll get lots of money out of it. Obviously, he was cutting on the side, but that's not explained in either of the movies. And you sort of have this weird, that's why the Landsgrad are there, and that's why the Emperor was afraid of Duke Leto. Mm-hmm. Because he was very popular.
Yeah.
So he was worried that he was going to take over, which I've explained 17 times now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they left out the whole him being
a pedophile.
I don't think it's exclusively... I think they're young boys. They're not young boys. I think they're
teenagers?
Yeah.
A phebophile.
Yeah, there you go. They're not 6-year-olds. They're
Yeah. I mean, it's still fucking creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm glad they skimmed over that, and the only scene you get is his Fade's birthday, where he's used to fighting drugged people in the arena.
Right. And
then they're like, oh, let's not drug one of them and see how he does it. And then he's all like, oh no, plans within plans. I just made you look really powerful to all the people, and then now they love you, instead of watching you just kill defenseless people.
Yeah.
One person actually had a chance out of the 3 people you murdered today. Yeah. One of them had a slight chance.
I just remember Leia Seydoux in that whole
Fragile,
section,
yeah.
And then she just never appears again for the movies.
Yeah, she just steals some sperm and runs away.
She's like, I'm gonna get pregnant now.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then she just...
My name may be fertile, but I'm not infertile. That's a Death Stranding reference.
Except her name is Fragile, not fertile.
Yeah. And yeah, so she's just stealing some sperm there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we can control him with his penis.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So he's the more controllable one, and then maybe his son will become the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah.
Yeah, the princess kind of gets a sideline. She's more important in the 84 movie, which is weird, because she's the narrator.
Yeah, but then she's not... She barely appears, especially in that second half. Because I do remember her being in the first section of it.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't in Dune Part 1, so I was like, who is this new character that's not even in the film? But she's only kind of in it at the end, and he doesn't even try to marry her in that one, so it's confusing.
Also, the ending of the original Dune is not what happens in the books.
Oh, yeah,
he can't just, like, summon rain.
Yeah, he fights Fade Rutha? I've forgotten it. Fade Rutha.
Yeah.
And then...
Yells at him and breaks his neck.
Yeah, he just, like, he kills him, and then he just shouts at him and explodes him, and explodes the ground underneath him.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily. Also, the Baron Harkonnen stuff, that, like, in Dune Part 2, Paul just kind of rocks up and stabs him in front of everyone. Everyone just kind of watches, like, okay, whatever, we don't like the Baron anyway. And in 1984, it's the small child pulls out his nipple plugs and sends him into a worm mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great sentence.
Brand new sentences. Pulls out his nipple plugs, sends him into a worm mouth.
Yeah, and that's how he died. But then, like, because I took a note, which was, you know, when Fade, Routha, and Paul are fighting, and Paul calls him cousin, he's like, cousin, is it?
Yeah.
And then he's like, you wouldn't be the first relative I've killed. And it's like, how is that supposed to intimidate the guy that you literally just watched kill his own grandfather?
Yeah. You
watch Paul kill his own grandfather, and you're like, haha, you wouldn't be the first relative I've killed. And it's like, yeah, you also won't be the first relative he's killed. He did it like 2 minutes ago. Have you forgotten? How have you forgotten? Because he was your fucking uncle as well. Like, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Have you blanked that out? You were like smiling the whole way through it. Like, dead uncle.
Damn it, he did the thing that I wanted to do.
He wasn't even mad about it. He's like, haha, uncle death, yum.
Uncle death, yeah.
Yum, uncle death, And then he immediately forgot that it happened. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him.
Which fight scene was better? The new one. It's not even a question.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so.
Everything about it, the costume design has its...
I liked
the goo guy.
The goo guy?
And the guy with the kazoo.
Oh, I do like the kazoo guy. No, I was gonna say I liked the secret little sword that Sting had on his crotch or wherever it was, his hip. But he didn't even use it, so it was pointless.
Yeah.
I liked the idea that like he was gonna stab him with a secret little hip sword, but instead he just didn't even hurt him at all. Whereas in the Dune Part 2, he gets in like multiple stabs, just in non-lethal places, and then Paul is fine afterwards. Yeah.
It is better. The pacing is better in Part 2. Like, what happens in the book, like, they couldn't have done it in one movie. Like, it wouldn't do it justice. It would have been very Ralph Bakshi. It's not the opposite of The Hobbit, which is they just stretched it out and put a love triangle in it.
I mean, it's basically what they did with the Dune movies.
No, because it actually happened in the book.
No, but it didn't need to be that long, I mean.
It did.
Not the love triangle. So it's a love triangle, I guess, is legitimate love triangle in this case.
Yeah.
But it's like he's marrying her for politics.
Yeah.
But he's in love with Chani.
Yeah.
Who's mad at him for literally everything he's ever done.
It's fair.
And rightfully so, because he's a dick.
Yeah.
But it didn't need to be that long. It didn't need to be, like, over 5 hours.
It wasn't over 5 hours.
No, the two movies combined.
Oh, yeah, okay. The two movies combined are over 5 hours.
It's like 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
You could have done that in 3 hours.
Okay. You know how both of us feel about the extended editions of Lord of the Rings versus... Yeah, we would rather watch the extended editions than the theatrical,
yes, correct? Because they're better films.
Yeah. I feel the same way about Dune Part 1 and 2. So... No, that's how I feel.
Yeah,
you can't say no, that's not how I feel.
But there's nothing added. They could have cut out some...
No,
here, I'll say to you.
What?
Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I like that. All of that, the pacing was good, and stuff happened the whole way through.
Cinematography, the costume design.
Yeah. No, we're talking about story, right?
Okay, storyline-wise.
That was the right length for that movie.
Okay.
Or the right length of time for those things to happen.
Yeah.
The first movie could have been about an hour and a half shorter.
Okay.
In which case, they could have got a chunk of Dune Part 2 and put it in there and had 2 shorter movies.
Right.
Or had one really long movie.
Okay.
Had one, 3.5 hour movie instead of 2 hours, 45 minutes, whatever.
Okay.
That would have been better.
In your opinion?
I guess so.
So, in my opinion...
I'll concede that it's my opinion that I'm expressing.
Yeah.
But,
in my opinion, I disagree with you.
There's so much just unnecessary nothingness in the first movie.
No, because you're world building and setting up.
It's not all world building. It's just Paul having dreams and wandering through the desert or whatever. It's nonsense.
But it's beautiful.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It's just desert. It's just sand.
It's Dune.
You don't even like sand.
Yeah, it's rough and coarse and it gets everywhere.
You don't like sand. Why do you love sand movies so much?
Because you can love the thing you don't want to
Do you know what
experience.
would be fun?
I've never gone skiing. I'd watch people ski.
But do you hate skiing?
I don't know. I never tried it. I'm too poor to have gone
skiing. What are you talking about? You hate sand. But you love sand movie.
Yeah.
Okay. What would have been fun is if they had a Beetlejuice cameo in it.
What?
Just because.
What?
Beetlejuice is set in the same universe, right?
No.
I think 100% is.
It's in the future.
No.
You're just oh my god, just because.
Beetlejuice.
No,
they opened I've just said Beetlejuice more than 3 times. He's gonna come for us. In Beetlejuice, when they open the door, it opens onto Arrakis.
Okay. So much stuff was stolen from Frank Herbert's Dune. So much stuff.
Beetlejuice.
And there's so many homages.
Opens onto Arrakis.
Yes, it's a desert a desert thing with worms in it.
It's Arrakis.
Yeah, okay.
Just admit it.
But it's not in the same universe.
Arrakis.
I don't know. Because they have they're weird worms.
It's Arrakis.
They have faces.
I hope that.
And they're stripy.
Because they're making a Beetlejuice 2. I hope that some of the Dune characters cameo in Beetlejuice 2.
It doesn't make sense. It's 10,000 years in the future.
They're going to open the door and it's going to be on Arrakis again.
No.
You say that as if, the stuff that happens in Beetlejuice is, normal everyday stuff.
It is within that universe.
Yeah, and maybe within that universe the door opens on Arrakis.
Okay. But which Arrakis?
Maybe which Arrakis?
The current timeline one, the movie we just watched, or 84? Or the TV show?
In the original Beetlejuice is probably the 84 Arrakis. But in the sequel, why can't they open the door and see Timmy Chalamet out there, you know? Austin Butler made Timothée Chalamet look like he maybe could act. That's how bad he was.
This is what I live with, folks.
That was the closest I've seen to Timothée Chalamet acting, by the way. Because he didn't act in the first one, and he hasn't acted in anything else I've seen him in. But he did some crying stuff, but it's bullshit because Paul Atreides wouldn't cry because Paul Atreides has no feelings because he's like a robot narcissist who doesn't actually care about anyone. I'd like to see.
Oh God.
I'd like to see the movie, the 2024 Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
But just replace Timothée Chalamet with Kyle MacLachlan again. And replace Austin Butler with Sting. Just do it. Just have Sting and Kyle MacLachlan, but with the whole rest of that other cast and doing
It's supposed to be
the Denis Villeneuve direction.
I can't remember. He's 16 in the friggin' book, isn't he?
Yeah. They're both supposed to be 15 or 16.
Yeah.
But none of the actors are that age anyway. But just teleport or transport 80s Kyle MacLachlan and Sting in. Sting is in his 30s in the first one when he's playing a 15-year-old.
He's pretty jacked for in his 30s.
I think he's pretty jacked for in his 30s.
In the first movie.
What, like, do you think people in their 30s can't be jacked?
No, I'm just saying he's got an impressive physique.
Okay.
Is that a problem with you?
No, it's just a weird thing for you to say.
Okay.
But yeah, he was in his 30s playing a 15-year-old for no reason. He doesn't look 15.
Yeah.
By any manner of means. But I do like the crazy eyes he does. He does pretty good crazy eyes.
Makes sense.
Is there anything else you want to say about these movies?
I'm looking forward to sequel.
Okay.
I'm going to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that on a Sunday, because I know you won't want to be involved.
It's not coming out soon.
It doesn't matter. Our relationship is ongoing.
Yeah, but you don't know what our schedules will be like in 3 years, you know? It could be different. There was one other thing.
What's that?
That annoyed me. It's touching on something I already mentioned, which is the Bene Gesserit being controlling assholes using fake religion to control people.
It's not a fake religion.
The water situation pissed me
Which
off.
water? Which water?
Okay, so it's treated differently in both movies. Because in 84, they're like, this is our water, and when we have enough of it, we're going to make everything green again, or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Dune Part 2, they're like, this is our sacred water, you cannot drink from it. And that's because the Bene Gesserit have given them this idea that water is sacred, and they can't drink from it. Because they've kind of invented their whole religion. But, like, they're on a fucking desert planet where they don't have water, where they're like not allowed to cry because they're giving away water that could otherwise be used. And they're like, when people die, they're sucking water out of them so that they have enough water for their cooling suits or whatever. And they have massive pools of water that they're like, we can't touch this because it's sacred. And it's like, why did you let these people brainwash you into thinking that you can't touch the water when that water could literally keep your people alive? It's fucking religion.
Like how the Catholic Church hoards wealth, and by per capita, the Catholic people are the poorest.
It just sucks. Because I mean, I understand. You know, we've been over this before. Like, belief systems are very personal, in my opinion, and I don't harbor any ill will towards anyone about their like religious beliefs. But the concept of organized religion is so often used just to control people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that is, at the very least, what Denis Villeneuve is also talking about, if not what Frank Herbert was talking about. And it's an interesting topic to tackle, I think, because it's something that's still happening.
Yeah.
It always will be happening, sadly, probably. I would love for it to not be happening. But it's, yeah. I don't like it. How much, because it, like, the concept of organized religion being used to control and manipulate people is awful, because what they're using are those people's core beliefs and their hope for positive things, and, you know, and it's not fair on people to use those things to get them to do what you want.
Yeah.
But it's always happening, because people in power, like positions of power, draw in people who want to abuse that.
Yeah, and then you start an entire society about trying to genetically engineer a controllable, like, Messiah God creature.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, cool, let's, like, put this religion on every planet.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's like if you were trying to breed Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole concept, right? They're trying to create a Messiah from when there is, like, because the idea, obviously, or seemingly, maybe not obviously, is that it's all bullshit. That this concept, in this religion, this concept of a Messiah is something that they have invented specifically so that they can control people by controlling a figure that they revere. Like,
yes,
I don't
know, because the Bene Gesserit are trying to create the Kwisatz Haderach, and that's why the Reverend Mother is so skeptical and angry with Jessica.
Yeah.
the religion has spread to Arrakis with the missionaries, as you said.
Yeah.
And they have built this entire, their ethos around it.
Yeah.
So the point was and the thing that Paul was trying to avoid is he knows if he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach, he basically unleashes a jihad on the entire universe because they are basically saying, you know, all your other religions or otherwise beliefs are wrong because our Messiah is real. He's a real motherfucker. He's over there. We're going to go kill everybody.
Yeah.
So that's like...
The Crusades.
Yeah. Yeah, literally they're going
It's like if the Crusades were happening while Jesus was still alive.
Yeah, or if Jesus came back as a second coming and then everybody was like a holy knight ready to rise up with swords, because they literally fight with swords in this universe.
Yeah. Which is funny because some of them have like laser guns.
Yeah.
But then they all just fight with swords.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense when you're on a planet that you want to steal the water of dead people.
Yeah. True.
That you'd stab them rather than blowing them up with lasers.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. What did you think about the life sucky juice thing?
What do you mean, what do I think of it? I mean, it's practical.
It's practical.
It's practical. I did say, I put something about it in here, but I can't remember what it was. It was just the Fremen can suck fluid out of dead Harkonnens.
Yeah. One of the guys wasn't dead.
Yeah, he discovered he wasn't dead, and we're like, let's just do this anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, practical, because they were like, it's, you know, it's dirty water, but it'll work through our cooling suits at the least, you know, it's not, like, drinkable or whatever. And I guess in that environment, you have to be practical. But that's why it's so fucking stupid that they have these massive pools of water underground, that they are like, no, but that's the sacred water we can't touch because the Bene Gesserit told us so. I hate them. Anyway,
yeah, but it's just resources. He's basically just been banking money for Paul to turn up. Because he's going to use it to, like, fuel his war effort. So it was, you know, yes, and no. You are right and you are mistaken.
I mean...
You're less mistaken than you are right.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on the information given to us in that movie...
Yeah. I
feel like I've interpreted what the movie has given us correctly.
Yeah.
And you're using external knowledge.
Correct.
So, based on the canon of the movie, I think I'm fairly accurate in my takeaway.
Do you want to get into trivia or...
In fairness...
Obviously, budget and box office aren't going to work.
Yeah, I'm not going to do budgets and box offices. I did...
What has Dune made so far?
I have already covered pretty much all of the notes I had, I think, from trivia. The only thing I didn't was in Dune Part 2, Lady Jessica has a whole lot of facial tattoos that she gets after drinking the worm piss.
It's not piss, it's bile, but okay.
Did they call it worm piss?
Yeah, I know
Someone calls it worm piss, and then we see them like drowning the worm and sucking it out of its mouth. So it's like, okay, it's clearly not piss. Unless that's a cloaca. Then maybe. But apparently the tattoos are the Bene Gesserit litany against fear.
Oh my god, yes. Sorry. There's going to be this third movie and a TV show planned.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, more Dune, baby.
Too much Dune. You
Not enough.
What I said. But that's alright. The end.
Is that it? Is that all the stuff you've had?
Yeah, I've already covered all the rest of the trivia that I had written down.
Sweet. It's made lots of money, so that'll be successful, so they'll be able to pump out another one. The term that is derogatory but is funny to me that has been used for this new fad of action hero that aren't like super muscular men.
Oh, right, you're going to say the thing that you kept saying to me when we were having dinner.
Yeah. It's describing Timothy Chalamet as a murder twink.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. It's such a... it's very encapsulating. It's very poignant. It's very on point.
He's just an arrogant weirdo.
The character or the actor?
That is the question. That is...
Alright, iRobot.
Yeah. That is the right question. You're not asking the right kinds of questions.
Did you enjoyed it?
Yeah, more so than the first one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to the 84 one. I watched it, but it will... I don't know that I will remember it.
Jessica drinks the juice. They make out with some water filters over the top. He drinks the juice.
He just keeps like looking at things and then having an internal monologue.
Yeah.
An internal monologue that's just like wondering at stuff.
Yeah.
And like explaining stuff that we can already see.
Father! The sleeper has awakened! I like the internal monologue thing. I like it because it is in the book.
Right.
I was going to ask you to promise me something, but you're not going to do it.
What?
I would like you to listen to the full cast audio.
No. No.
I didn't even get it out of my mouth before you were just like...
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
That's not happening. I've had enough Dune content.
I've never had enough Dune content.
I've had enough Dune
I used to play
content.
Dune 2000, which was like Command and Conquer but Dune.
Why?
Because I love Dune!
You love Dune.
I love Dune.
Nick loved Dune.
Yeah, Nick loved Dune.
Is that the name of the episode? Nick loved Dune.
No. What do you want to... You just want to wrap up?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't have much more to say, do you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
So for those who haven't, the television show, which obviously happened a long time ago now,
Early 2000s?
Yeah. It makes a mistake of the costumes costing more than the actors did.
Yeah, you said this last time as well.
It's a special with part 2 because, you may have forgotten what it was like going into part 1 and, unless you watched it recently like I did when it was about to leave Netflix as the new one was coming out. Don't know why that happened. Probably going to some other streaming platform. How good the costuming is. Everybody seems... They're humans, but they all seem very... Like, the costumes are very alien. They are very dramatic. They are very poignant. Poignant. And I really love the costume design. I really love the set design. The harvesters are cool. I was going to say ornithopters, but I don't remember the name of them.
I don't know.
I think that not ornithopters.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just keep going.
They're very cool. The way that they ride worms, Shai Hulud is better. Shai Hulud's design is better.
They didn't use condoms.
What?
In the 84 one, they used condoms.
To make the models?
No, whatever the hook thing that he was using to ride the Shai Hulud was made out of condoms.
Okay. The alien from Aliens was just covered in KY jelly. Where was I going?
Talking about the condoms.
Yeah, talking Shai Hulud, it's the bucket situation's weird. The Dune buckets.
The Dune buckets?
What, the patriarch of the McElroy brothers was eating it.
Oh, right.
So they were giving...
the patriarch of the McElroy brothers.
I can't remember his name. Clint.
Yeah, before we went to see Dune, we watched the...
My brother and me.
Yeah, the McElroy brothers with their dad having like a pizza party playing Anticipation.
Yeah.
Which is like an 80s video game.
And he had the Dune bucket.
Yeah, he had the like... Is that supposed to be a popcorn bucket?
Yeah, it's a popcorn bucket.
That's Shai Hulud.
Yeah. But
it's just very strange.
Yeah, because it looks like sex toy.
Yes, which the brothers pointed at as well. His Shai Hulud flashlight.
And a lot of people on the internet have made skits about it. Right. They're like, I want the bucket, but no popcorn, extra butter.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
The design of the worms is cool. I do like the weird, 3-segmented mouth, like a tremor.
I liked when they did when they were getting the water of life and they were drowning the worm to get it to open up. so they can do the bile thing, and there's it's I was gonna say a moray eel, but not really because it's like an inner mouth that comes out of the outer mouth.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Costume
design, set design, I think the pacing was better. My one criticism...
Mm-hmm. Is it Austin Butler?
No. It's... So I've mentioned this before. If you're going to have somebody fight somebody else, and it's going to be like an over-the-top, fast-paced, behind the shoulder, around the, because it's right up with Chani when she's running in.
Yeah. To
fight the Sardaukar. Don't have the costumes look the same, because then the first movie did it better.
That's the point that's why she puts on the weird blue arm thing, so you can tell her apart from everyone else.
Yeah. But
that's not a thing that makes a lot of sense, in canon, but it makes sense for, us as a viewer to go, well, that one's Chani.
Yeah. In the 84 movie, the Sardaukar are wearing, boiler suits with, welding masks that are, illuminated green from the inside. And in this one, they're sort of just wearing, self-contained atmosphered power armor sort of style, where they sort of look like futuristic football players. But yeah, the other still suits look better, in comparison. So it was just weird that she was just wearing camouflaged armor to run into battle, which looked exactly the same. So it was very difficult, and that's pretty much my one criticism. The fight scene between Fade and Paul is better in the remake. Remake part 2, sorry. I think just the pacing, the interaction with characters is obviously it's all better. Lisa's just yawning because she's sick of talking and seeing Dune stuff.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, tired. I think everything about it was just better. Yeah. But that's just modern filmmaking. Everything is just...
Nah.
All the cinematics and all the stuff is just slightly better these days. No?
No, I mean, you can still make terrible films.
Yeah.
And you can still make terrible looking films.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve is a master filmmaker.
Yeah.
I don't like the first Dune movie. This one is okay. But Denis Villeneuve across his other films, fantastic. Are you looking up what else he's done? Have you forgotten?
Yeah.
You've forgotten what else he's done?
Yeah.
They're all good.
Okay.
Have you looked them up?
No, I'm getting there.
Do you want me to get there quicker?
No.
Is it because you can't spell Denis?
No, I'm already there. Arrival was really good.
Arrival is the best film of the last...
Prisoners.
Of this century, I'll say.
Prisoners is good.
Prisoners is fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything he's made is great. Everything that I've seen that he's made, because I haven't seen... I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049. And I haven't seen his earlier films. Incendies is on my list, but I've seen Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, and all great movies. I would recommend any of them. Great movies. Dune, not his best work. Dune Part 2, better than Dune, but it's not as good as Arrival, for example. Arrival is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
I mean, Arrival is like... I mean, I suppose it's not really world building, but it's such a... it explains everything to you without it being...
The Dune TV series comes out this year.
Oh, God. Why?
Because people like Dune, Lisa.
He's not even directing that.
No, he's executive producer.
Well, that sucks.
He's been too busy working on Dune Part 3.
Yep.
Dune Messiah. The second one. In this case, the third one, but the second one.
Okay. But yeah, you haven't seen Enemy yet, have you? Have you seen Sicario?
Yeah, I've seen Sicario.
Okay, Sicario.
It's got Emily Blunt in it.
Yeah. Enemy's good. Enemy might be on our podcast list at some point.
Sweet.
So we can see it. Arrival. I think Arrival is as well, actually.
I'd enjoy watching it again.
I loved Arrival.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I think is one of the best movies, if not the best movie released this century. As in, like, from 2000 onwards, not as in, like, from 1924 to now. Fantastic. I think definitely I would say, of the movies I have seen, Arrival is probably the best movie of the 2010s.
Did you know you can find our Discord and our website in the show notes?
Wow.
It's right
I didn't
below.
realise that. It's not like I put it there.
Yeah, it's not like you put it there. That's all I have to say. You've checked out ages ago.
Yeah. I'm also aware that it was, when I was saying we should wrap up, was like a reasonable length of an episode. And
fair enough.
Now we've made people listen to an extra 15 minutes.
Oh, no.
Episode.
15 minutes of free extra content. Pay us back for that extra 15 minutes by joining our Discord or visiting our website, ittakes2.co.nz.
Mm-hmm. We also, I say also, I was going to say we also upload to YouTube, but you could be listening to this on YouTube, in which case you already know that.
Yeah. But share it with people.
Yeah. Do that.
It'd be nice for if you enjoyed any of our previous episodes or just hearing us rant about things that one of us likes and the other one dislikes, similar to the premise of our very popular Christmas episodes.
Also, just let us know your opinions on Dune Part 2.
Yeah. Are you in the correct boat, me, and enjoy it?
Are you in Nick?
Yeah. Are you in
the boat?
The boat. I was going to say the USS.
The USS Nick.
Yeah. You in my boat and enjoyed Dune and Dune Part 2 and looking forward to Dune Part 3 and also the television show? Or are you just drowned in the desert and don't care anymore like poor Lisa over there? Mm-hmm. Tell us
whether you think Austin Butler can act. Tell us whether you think Timothée Chalamet can act. Come at me, bro. Give me your opinions. Let me know if your thoughts on method acting. Let me know if you think it's really acting, if your actor thinks he's going to kill everyone if he acts too hard.
Thank you for joining us. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.